Hey everybody, welcome to my very basic guide on skullduggery. Only on this episode, the emphasis will be on the magical side of things, as this guide will go over the roguish archetype features of the Arcane Trickster. For anyone who wishes to break bad and go down a road of crime, the base rogue class already has a lot of built-in power from the get-go, being a great blend of a burst damage dealer and a skillful handyman that can get most jobs done better than most classes, without needing to expend any important resources. The Arcane Trickster emphasizes the strong points present in the rogue, and can even shore up some of the weaknesses that other roguish archetypes fail to address in the form of wizard spells that Arcane Tricksters get access to. If you feel that by not having any extra attacks means you will eventually get outscaled by other martial classes, have no fear because you can get cantrips that automatically scale by themselves, such as Booming Blade or Green Flame Blade. If you feel that your armor class is too low and you get hit more times than you're comfortable with, you can get the Shield spell that makes you harder to hit, or False Life that gives you some extra blood that you can shed worry-free. If you want more utility spells that can affect the battlefield to help out your allies, you can get things like Grease, Fog Cloud, and Web that will muck up the enemy's plans. If you want to get into some of the harder to reach places, then spells like Disguise Self and Invisibility might be more up your alley. The list goes on and on. The wizard spell list is expansive, and you can design your Arcane Trickster the way you see fit. Although a few things to keep in mind is that the Arcane Trickster do not get the ritual casting feature, so spells like Find Familiar and Identify will always be cast as regular spells. Another thing to keep in mind is that your spellcasting ability is Intelligence, meaning you are now a multi-ability score dependent character that still wants to pump Dexterity as your primary score, so your Intelligence will most likely be lacking, meaning you will generally have to take spells that do not rely on a high spell attack modifier or a high spell save DC. Now that we are familiar with the general concept of what an Arcane Trickster is or can be, it's now time to delve deep into the pockets of specific features that will be crucial to your illegal enterprise. Starting at level 1, before we specialize as an Arcane Trickster, we must realize our skills as a competent rogue. You gain the Expertise feature on 2 of your skill proficiencies, which means that you double the proficiency bonus for those 2 skills, which is very powerful to have at the first level. Being a skill monkey is pretty cool for less combat-oriented challenges. However, the rogue base class also offers raw firepower as well in the form of your sneak attack feature, also at level 1. Sneak attacks are the rogue's best friend, as it's the main source of their big damage that scales well and stacks with crits. Once per turn, you get to deal an extra 1d6 damage on a creature that you hit as long as you have advantage on the attack roll, or if there's an enemy of the creature you're hitting within 5 feet of it. The enemy cannot be incapacitated, and you cannot have the disadvantage on your attack roll. Obviously, this is pretty easy to do. As long as you have a flanking ally right next to the enemy, you will usually get your sneak attacks off, especially since advantage and disadvantage cancels each other out in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. No matter how many disadvantages that are imposed on your roll, if you have at least one advantage, you will roll as if you have neither. The sneak attack damage increases by 1d6 every 2 rogue levels, from 1d6 at level 1, 2d6 at level 3, 3d6 at level 5, 4d6 at level 7, and the pattern continues all the way to 10d6 at level 19. Also, one last thing that you get at level 1 is your super secret gang signs called Thieves' Cant, which opens up a lot of role-playing opportunities for you and your friends to mess around with in the underground world of the Dungeons & Dragons universe. At level 2, you get a nifty ability known as Cunning Action that allows you to use your bonus action to dash, disengage, or even hide. Usually these actions cost you your main action, but rogues are especially speedy, granting them a powerful feature that allows them to always have a use for their bonus action. Once you officially evolve into an Arcane Trickster at level 3, you instantly get a Mage Hand Legerdemain and your spellcasting abilities. Your Mage Hand cantrip becomes special as it can be turned invisible, and you have a lot more fine control with its magical fingers, allowing you to perform additional tasks such as putting an object that the hand is holding inside a container that is being worn or carried by another creature, being able to get an object from inside a container worn or carried by another creature, and being able to use your Mage Hand to use your Thieves tool to disarm traps and pick locks at a distance. If someone gets suspicious, or if they feel an invisible hand is rubbing them up, they can make a perception check contested against your sleight of hand check to see if something is amiss. And also, instead of using an action to control the hand, you get to use your cunning action to use your bonus action to manipulate the hand instead. The number of potential plays that the Hand Mage Legerdemain feature provides is really fun to think about, as it simply makes the Mage Hand cantrip even more useful in a wider variety of crunchier scenarios. At level 5, you get to Zigzag, which magically allows you to halve the damage of any attack that you can see using your reaction. Uncanny Dodge is an amazing ability that gives rogues a lot of staying power on the battlefield that is much needed, and is incredibly versatile at all stages of the game due to the fact that Uncanny Dodge works on any type of damage as long as you can see the attacker. Also, you get some more expertise at level 6, which doubles 2 more skill proficiencies of your choice, which gives you a grand total of 4 skill proficiencies that are receiving the expertise bonus. At the 7th level, you get the Evasion feature. It allows your roguish legs to carry you in faster than the speed of fireballs, as effects that causes you to make dexterity saving throws to take half damage will now cause 0 damage if you succeed on the saving throw, and only half damage on a failure. If you're a stealthy boy at level 9, you get to magically ambush your enemies when you're hidden from them, and your enemy will receive disadvantage on their saving throws against your spell on that turn. This is a once per turn ability, meaning you can try to use your cunning action to take the hide action after you cast your spell, and then regain magic ambush for the next turn as well. Obviously, this depends on the terrain that you're fighting in, but a spell like Fog Cloud actually has decent synergy with potentially enabling magical ambush every turn. Versatile Trickster is the level 13 feature that allows you to flip people off with a Magic Hand or maybe tie up enemy shoelaces when they're not looking with your Mage Hand cantrip. The Mage Hand has to be within 5 feet of an enemy you're trying to distract, and then you can activate Versatile Trickster with a bonus action, granting you advantage on attack rolls against the distracted person for the rest of the turn. Advantage is pretty important because it allows rogues to easily deal sneak attack damage by themselves, and advantage is just generally good to have, especially if it only costs you a bonus action. Another strong feature that rogues get is Slippery Mind at level 15. Your brain becomes nice and moist, giving you proficiency in wisdom saving throws. This is nothing to scoff at because a lot of nasty spells and monster abilities forces you to roll wisdom saves. Your final Arcane Trickster archetype feature comes at level 17, Spell Thief. This is a really unique ability that triggers when an enemy casts a spell that targets you or gets you in its area of effect, and using your reaction, you can potentially negate the spell by forcing the enemy to roll a saving throw that gets its spellcasting modifier as a bonus contested by your spell save DC. If the enemy fails a saving throw, then the spell fizzles when it touches you, and being a spell thief, you get to cast that spell using your spell slots for the next 8 hours. The spell cannot be a cantrip, and has to be of a spell level that you can actually cast in order for you to yoink it. Also, the enemy that got their spell stolen will not be able to cast that spell until the 8 hours is over. This is a once per long rest feature, so you'll have to use this one sparingly. Spell Thief is a little bit anemic in a sense since it specifically says that it negates the spell's effect against only you, so a fireball for example will still hurt your allies that are caught inside of the area effect even if the enemy failed their saving throw. Not only that, but other restrictions of the spell having to be of a spell level that you can actually cast means that as a level 17 Arcane Trickster, you'll only be able to steal the knowledge of up to spell level 3, which is quite limiting at that stage of the game. An Arcane Trickster is still 2 parts rogue and 1 part caster, so your spell save DC will probably not be that high as well, but Spell Thief is still a very fun ability to mess around with and can change the outcome of battle when it works. Also at level 18, you become Elusive, making it so that no one can get advantage on their attack rolls against you. This is a very simple but very powerful feature that makes hordes of enemies that flank you and enemy ambushes a lot less effective when trying to take you down, and is just a passive upgrade that will always be with you no matter the situation. Unless you get KO'd, then you lose the Elusive feature. And at level 20, you become quite lucky with your Stroke of Luck, granting you the ability to turn a miss into a hit, or you can get a free natural 20 on any failed ability check. This is a once per rest ability, but quite a good one to have. Arcane Trickster is generally considered one of the stronger roguish archetypes, and for a good reason. The base class abilities that being a rogue gets you is already very impressive, and adding even minor spellcasting options on top of that allows for a style of play and versatility that other roguish archetypes cannot really match. The potential for customization by being an Arcane Trickster is also incredible, and the spells that you choose can greatly impact your role within the party and the options that you have for handling different encounters. Being able to pickpocket someone with your invisible hand cantrip is always fun. Dual wielding using the Shadow Blade spell can lead to an interesting character build, and being able to cast spells like Invisibility, Haste, Shield, and Booming Blade adds another dimension for rogues to skillfully dance around with. And with all of that being said and done, this concludes my very basic guide on Arcane Trickery. As always, I hope that anyone who watches my stuff enjoys what I create as much as I enjoyed creating in the first place. I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, goodbye for now.